We're going to do a how-to video on the Book-like Keepsake Impressions Kits. These kits are designed for all ages. They can be used in the landscape style, or you can use it in portrait. If you use it landscape style, you have this hook here that you can hang it to a wall and it lays flat. So kind of depending on the age, if you have a small toddler, you can have 2 hands here or 2 feet if it's an infant, or it's also something you can use for twins, maybe 2 feet here and 2 feet here. In this instance, we're going to actually use a 7-year-old to take the impressions. So your first step on your checklist is to cut the plastic of the molding material. And you're going to just cut the ends. Oops. And then where you have the seam here, you want to actually lift up the seam and cut along this, because we're going to be using the plastic. And when you have this part ready, you flip this upside down and put it into the rectangle. Notice there's extra space here and at the bottom. So what we need to do is we need to spread out the molding material so that it gets all the way into the corners and the edges. And we're using this plastic so that we don't make our fingerprints show up later. And you want to make sure it goes all the way to the edge. Using the palm of your hand works really well too. And when you're spreading out the molding material, it's a really good idea to make sure that it's sticking to the edge, because when it's then it will not pull away from the edge as it's drying. And these take generally about 3 days to dry. But you'll notice the top part will start to dry within about an hour. So you have about an hour to take a really good impression. If you were to make a mistake, once you take the impression, then you can flip this over like this and smooth it out and start over again. So now I'm getting rid of the wrinkles that are showing up here. And you can put lots of pressure on this, and you're not going to break it. Okay. Now if you still have wrinkles, you can use your finger like an eraser and kind of smooth it over. Okay, once you start to get it smooth, then you can prepare the hand or the foot to be impressed. And you can just make sure you wash it really, really well and dry it. Okay, so now we're ready for William to come over here and make an impression on us. So one thing to think about before you push it down is sometimes you can use letter stamps to put the name of the person on the top. If you're going to do that, you want to make sure to leave plenty of room to do that. So we're going to move his hand down just a little bit, and now we're just going to press. And you want to make sure you get each digit in there without getting our own fingers showing up. There you go. And you do add quite a bit of pressure, but as you can see, this is a healthy boy, and he's not complaining. Does that hurt? No?
Good.
Feels good. Okay. All right. And then we'll lift his hand up and see how we did. So this is what happens when you have sweaty fingers. So if that's the case, then you can just smooth it out. You can go sit down. Thank you for helping. It's okay. You can go sit down. Thank you. So you can just kind of tap this in here like this. And then you have the impression. So if you'd like to add some stamps, you don't need to push the stamp all the way in. You can just kind of tap it in. Because if you push it all the way in, you're going to get the outline of the square. So this is Will, so we'll put his name in there. And then another thing you can do is if you wanted to add some crafts, some adhesive gems, or another stamp, say you wanted to use like a butterfly, you can put that, you can stamp that in there also. We have been including some adhesive gems. They don't have to be sticky, but you can use them when they're wet, and just tap it in there. Just to add a little bit of decoration. And in fact, sometimes we'd like to suggest that the staff takes the impression and invites the family to decorate just a little bit. And that kind of helps get the families involved in the memory making process, which is really important because it gives them a little bit of control. This right here is called the pigment powder, and sometimes there'll be maybe a little bit of blood or fluid inside on the impression, and you can use the pigment powder or blush, and you can tap a paintbrush in there or a Q-tip and just paint inside there, and it'll make the impression pop out a little bit more and cover up any blemishes in there. Again, if you wanted to start over, we could pop these out, flip it over, and start over. But you do have to put a little bit of pressure. If you're putting a little bit of pressure while you're doing it, you're doing a great job. So then you take your impression and bring it over to your impression kit. You can discard this part, remove the double-sided tape, put the impression kit in here, pushing on with the corners, remove the double-sided tape here, close this, and then you have your data card and then your first card, and then you can just slide them in here. You fill this out first and then slide it in here. And if you were to do, whoops, probably do it the right way here. If you were to be using it in the landscape, let's see, so this one you would do it like this. If you did it in the landscape, so if the hands were this way, then you would have this like this that you could hang it easily. And that's how you do a keepsake impressions kit. If you're doing a small one, you can use smaller stamps, but you can do the same method, putting the molding material in there, pushing down on the back, and then if you're using a foot, you roll heel to toe, and that's the best way to do those. And that's it. Thank you.